It's me, MLB. Here is chapter 107 of Gains. This one is titled, Let's Get It. Training that night was as intense as always, and you did your best, but you still felt like you weren't doing enough. Well, enough to impress Ori anyway. Ori, what do I need to be doing to improve? You asked her after she nearly beat you to death with her staves. Everyone's different. You need to find yourself, she said. What makes you you? What have you been through? You need to dig deep and learn about yourself. Okay, he said with a sigh. Maybe I'm just really dumb. I don't think about these kinds of things. I guess I just run away from them, you thought, as you picked up the sweat towel and wiped your brow. I was bullied at school, Ori suddenly said. Moved school 4 times, got rejected from every hero agency. Your head shot up and you stared at her. You asked. Yeah, me, she replied. I was a deadbeat. What happened? You asked with amazement. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but you're so confident and capable. How did you come to be that way? A lot of hard work and looking to better myself, she said. I don't know your story, but you have so much potential. Don't waste it. You nodded, feeling a little more determined now. I won't, you replied, telling yourself off and setting yourself for the next round. Okay, let's do this. On the school front, you were starting to hold your own when it came to the fitness tests. Thanks to core workouts with Kiri at night, you excelled in the rescue test, where you had to basically scale a cliff with a backpack on. You beat Kaminari, Mineta, Koda, Mina and Sato, which you were pretty happy with. The other surprising thing that happened was while you were standing there afterwards chatting with the girls, you heard a bit of a kerfuffle behind you and turned around to see Mineta getting mauled by Bakugou, with Kiri trying to hold Bakugou off him but also getting a little angry at the purple gremlin. You had no idea what was going on at the time, but afterwards approached your boys about it, and they said that Mineta had made a comment about your ass that set Bakugou off. What did he say? You asked, expecting it to have been something bad. He said he wanted to his between your Bakugou said bluntly, and you nearly fell over. Ew, you cried, feeling violated from head to toe, but at the same time this had never happened to you before, and you were kinda happy that you were at least seen as desirable. You didn't like that you were now on Mineta's radar, but you did have 2 hotties who were always down to defend your honour, so you knew that you were safe with them around. Before you knew it, it was moving day for Mum, and then that meant the next day would be day 1 of the internship. You caught the bus to the hospital that morning and walked up to her room, ready for whatever day's move was going to bring. This was the first time that your mum was getting out of bed, well, first in a while, and she started coughing and wheezing uncontrollably as she went to stand up. Are you okay, Mum? You asked her, standing by her side and trying to support her as best as possible. She just nodded, but accepted your help as she slowly made her way to the door. My feet hurt, she wheezed out. Everything is so sore. It's okay, Mum. We're going to help you. We're going to be okay, you promised her. You could feel her weight getting heavier on you and you tensed your core and braced. Mum, you okay? Mum? You asked as she seemed to be slumping more and more onto you. Nurse, you called out through the open doorway. You could see the back of the nurse ahead and felt like, although you had been doing a lot of training, you still needed a bit of extra help right now. She turned around, saw the predicament, and then rushed in. Sherry, get the oxygen, she shouted, and then got on the other side of your mum. She's passing out, she said to you. We need to lie her back down on the bed. You nodded and lifted your mum, managing to hold her quite well as you walked backwards to the bed and lay her back down as gently as you could. Wow, the nurse said when she felt you lift most of your mum's weight by yourself. You're quite strong. I've been training, you said with a small smile. I'm glad it's come in handy. Nurse Sherry came running back in then. Her and the other nurse set the oxygen mask up on your mum. She's going to need to be specialed over to the retreat. Can we spare an RN? Sherry asked the other nurse. Maybe is Laura on today? She's good with PT, the other nurse said. You listened in, but didn't really understand what was being said. But you knew getting your mum across to the health retreat was going to be a little more of an ordeal than you had originally thought. After the nursing staff and ahed for a bit, they did indeed find Laura, and she got your mum into the wheelchair with the oxygen tank on the back, and off you 3 went to the waiting patient transport ambulance downstairs. You okay, Mum? You asked her worriedly as she sat in the wheelchair. She nodded. Yes, love. Since you're here. You smiled and patted her hand. Of course you'd be there for her, but it did beg the question, where was Dad in all of this? The trip to the health retreat was seamless enough, and the transfer of your mum from the wheelchair to her new bed was okay, and then you were left to settle in for a bit before the healthcare team came to do an assessment. "This is really nice," you said to your mum as you walked to the window and pulled the curtains back. Her room overlooked the gardens of the place, and it just looked calming. "We should go for a walk out there one day," you said to her. "If you have to do daily walks, let me know. I'll come as well." She smiled from her bed. "I don't really feel like going out there," she said sadly. "I know," you replied. "It's a lot to ask from you right now. But when you're feeling up to it, just know I'll be there for you." She smiled again and waved you over so that she could hug you. She knew that she could always count on you. "Hey, Mum?" you asked softly as you lay half across the bed, smooshed into her warm hug. "I don't mean to pry, but where's Dad? Not that I care, but I haven't seen him or heard from him. Has he been coming to see you, or at least call you?" She sighed and you looked up at her. She shook her head. "No, my love. The last I saw and heard from him was when he called the ambulance that morning. Since then, he hasn't tried to contact me. I haven't tried to contact him either. I don't even know him anymore," she said sadly. As the collective internet would say, he's gone to get the milk and just hasn't returned. Anyway, we'll find out what's going on with Dad a little bit later. Chapter 108 will be tomorrow. I'll see you then.